My name is Stacy Moody. I was born in Santa Barbara at Cottage Hospital, and I was raised in Orchid, California. I was actually 16 when I signed the paperwork. I went on the delayed entry program. My parents had to sign for me. And I left 4 days after I graduated high school to Fort Jackson, South Carolina for my basic training. My AIT, which is school, was at Fort Gordon, Georgia. From there, I went to 8th Infantry Division, 8th Signal Battalion, and I was actually and that was Bad Kreuznach, Germany. And I was actually stationed in Bravo and headquarters there. I moved units. From there, I went to Fort Riley, Kansas, to the 1st Infantry Division. I was part of the 937th Engineer Group, 541st Maintenance Battalion. I was in their S2 shop, which is the intel shop. I didn't come in as an intelligence soldier. I actually was what they call a 31 Charlie, radio teletype operator. But while I was stationed in Germany, that job phased out. And while I was at Fort Gordon, I was actually in my contract to go airborne. I wanted to be a paratrooper like my brother and my grandfather. And the word came down at that time that unless you were in a combat field, you couldn't go to jump school. So it was a breach of my contract. They offered to let me out, and I didn't want to get out. So I was stuck at Fort Gordon for longer than I should have been. And I was able to take this course called Alpha 4 or Victor 4. I cannot remember. It was an extension of my MOS. And including in that course was Morse code. Like, they actually still teach it, or they did then. I couldn't believe it. Nobody uses Morse code, but I learned Morse code. And then the other part of this job was, of course, now it was a secret thing, but my classification was top secret coming out of that, but it's all in class now. But my job, or the extension of my MOS, was back then the satellites took photos. They didn't have live satellite feeds then. And so like every 0.8 seconds, there would be pictures. And that didn't really come into play until I was in the Middle East. But I learned how to read satellite photos and find like underground bunkers and things that weren't part of the normal layout of the land. And that was something that I learned because I couldn't go to jump school. And that ended up being my job. It changed me, it grew me up. I think with anybody, that was the thing. It grew me up, taught me responsibility, taught me there's a right time to defend and speak for people, and there's a time to just let things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. And it taught me pride in my country. Definitely taught me pride in my country.